Well, hello again. Today I want to talk a little bit about respect for enemies, respect for those who differ with us. This day and age, I see political debate, moral debate, just general differences of opinion even between individuals, both in person, but more so on the internet, and I see vitriol and anger and a great loathing even for the opposition coming from both sides a lot of the time on most debates. And I wonder, is that how it's supposed to be? Is that how our conversation is supposed to go? Well, I think the answer, at least for Christians, is definitely no. This is not how we should be behaving towards those with whom we disagree. Now, we should expect to receive it. I think Jesus makes it very clear that he received opposition, we would receive opposition, and we should expect to be responded to with vitriol, with anger, even with hate from those who disagree with the Christian worldview. But we should expect ourselves to never give it back. I really liked Antonin Scalia, the Supreme Court Justice, who just passed away. I think he had a really unique way of looking at the world and a really unique way of handling disagreement and of being in relationship with those with whom he disagreed. One of his best quotes, I think, is he said, "I attack ideas, I don't attack people. And some very good people have some very bad ideas." He liked to give the absolute most benefit of the doubt to people that he possibly could, while giving no benefit of the doubt whatsoever in some cases to ideas. And that's how it should be, I think, for us as Christians. So let's look at, what does the Bible say about how we should treat those who we see as our ideological enemies? Well, Proverbs says, "Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles." We should not even be rejoicing in the failure of those who we see as our opposition. We should be hoping for their success. We should be hoping, really, for their ultimate success in coming to Christ. But even before that, we should be hoping for good for our enemies. In Amos chapter 2, the Bible says, "For 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4, I will not revoke the punishment, because he burned to lime the bones of the king of Edom." So the king of Moab is going to be judged because he burned the bones of his enemy, the king of Edom. Bones mattered in the Old Testament. If you ever want to do a really interesting study, follow Joseph's bones out of Egypt. It's a really interesting look at how the ancient Hebrews thought bones mattered, and the ancient Near East, including Moab and Edom, thought that bones mattered. So this king of Moab was showing spite towards his enemy, the king of Edom, by burning his bones. And God is saying that's worthy of judgment. You should not be showing spite to your enemy. Jesus himself said, "You have heard what it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others?" We're expected to go beyond what normal people expect. Look in the world. People can get along just fine if you agree with them on everything. It's largely what we're seeing in the homosexual marriage debate. If you agree with me on everything, sure, we'll get along great. Otherwise, I'm going to yell at you, and I'm going to make you change to agree with me. We're expected to do more than that. We're supposed to love people and care about them and treat them with respect even when we disagree with them. And then finally in Romans, Paul says, "To the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." I think that's what we should be trying to do in these internet debates or in-person debates with those who we differ with. Don't try to overcome their evil with evil. Don't try to overcome anger and hate and vitriol with anger and hate and vitriol. Overcome it with respect and kindness and love. So what's the application? We should expect abuse. Jesus said, if they oppose me, they'll oppose you. We should expect abuse for our opinions and even just for being Christians in the first place. We should never return that abuse or even get close to doing so. We read the proverb, do not rejoice when your enemy falls. Let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. We should be wishing good on our enemies, let alone returning their abuse. And lastly, we should be looking for ways to treat our opponents with more and more grace and honesty and compassion and friendliness and love. We should be looking for ways that even in conversation with those who denigrate and belittle us, we can lift them up and think the best of them and care about them and love them. We should, like Scalia said, attack ideas. Don't attack people. And that's it for today. Remember, I'm doing this for you guys. I really hope that this can be a resource to folks. So if you have questions, if you have a topic that you've always thought about, like, man, what does this mean? What does the Bible say about this? Or you have a cultural issue that's happening that you want me to talk about a little bit, shoot me an email, jonathanmdennis@gmail.com, or just give me a holler on Facebook, Twitter, etc. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to do something specifically targeted at helping folks in the audience. So have a great day.